If we can get 1 point in this episode, we will qualify for the lottery, which is the Tier 8 playoffs. Are we in Tier 8? I think we're in Tier 8. The playoffs are a mess. Hello and welcome to part 8 of It's Coming Home. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have the final 2 games of the regular season. Hopefully not our final 2 games of the season, because the first of them is against already relegated Spalding United, who are about 8 miles away from where I'm currently sitting. I'm at home, not at home. Oh no. Yeah. Okay. They're about 8 miles from my house. So we should beat them, and then we've got the Stamford struggle on the last. We've got to get promoted so I can stop talking about Stamford. I'm very sorry. I'm still not going to tell you why I keep talking about Stamford. But they're also about 8 miles from my house. So these are very local. I'm really, if you get a map out now, you can get a good idea of exactly where I live. I probably shouldn't give you that much information. But we should get a point. And even if we don't get a point, unless there's a massive goal swing, we should be there anyway. This is how the league table looks. We're in 4th place, 62 points, a plus 26 goal difference. No one below us has got a goal difference anywhere near ours. So we should be qualifying for the playoffs. Once we qualify for the playoffs, that's when the fun begins, because the super playoffs are a thing. As I've mentioned before, it's quite possible for us to win the playoffs and still not get promoted, because this division is nuts. But this is the team that we're going to be playing for the first of our 2 games today against, who are we playing? Spalding, that's who we're playing. And we're still doing our 4-3-3 because we still don't have an attacking midfielder, and we're draining the last dregs of life out of James Hayter. He's not going to be playing for us next season. I've already decided. He's turned 40. He's not been the revelation that we expected him to be. 5 goals from 24 appearances, 15 of those are starts. He's probably not good enough. He's old. He's incredibly slow. But he is a leader. He is our captain, and we do play better when he's in the team. The games that we've lost recently have been games that James Hayter hasn't been a part of. So I think we have to play him, because we don't have a better option as that link man for Powell and Harris. But we are seeing the final days of James Hayter. He's not dying, but he is going to be moving on at the end of the season. Unless he wants to stay on as a coach. But last time I checked, I don't think he has any. Oh no, he has got staff attributes. He does want to be a coach. You know what? We might try and make him a coach if he doesn't want too much money, because he has had a positive impact on the squad, even if he's not quite good enough to play. Although he's playing every game. So he's good enough to play. Clearly, he's better than our other options. But we're going with Brannigan in goal. A back four of McNally, Smith, McNulty and Ellison. Morris is at the base of our midfield. Turnbull and Davis in that midfield. Obviously, these are also the final days of Jack Turnbull. He's moving on to Southend in League One in the summer. Behind Harris, he is our best player. So I can kind of understand why he's getting to make the move. I don't understand why Harris hasn't yet. There's not even anyone interested in him yet. Long may that continue. And then we're going with Hayter, Powell and Harris up front. We just need to not lose or not have a massive goal swing. As long as we don't lose 20-0 to Spalding today, we're probably all but there. But it would be nice to, we're at home against a team that we should be better than. They're already relegated. We're pushing for promotion. I would like to think this is a game we should be winning comfortably. Let's do that one. Excellent stuff. Oh, we get a tunnel interview. We have put ourselves in the best position possible. Let's get out there and secure a playoff spot. Achieving a playoff spot in this first season is a remarkable achievement. I don't expect us to win the playoffs. I don't think we're as good as most of these teams who are above us. But just getting to the playoffs is ridiculous. We never should have got here, and we have. There's Hayter, and he's proving me wrong. James Hayter with a lovely goal. Puts us 1-0 up after 6 minutes. And what a hero that man is. He is our captain. He is a leader. And clearly, when push comes to shove, he's still capable of doing this. Just bang. I think he's probably the only player at the club who scores that goal from that position, because he has got that quality. He's a bit, physically, he can't get into those kind of positions often enough to score the amount of goals he used to score. But when he does, he will score them. And Rob Davis trying to say, hang about, I can do this too. He has scored a similar goal recently. So perhaps I'm being a little unfair on both Davis and Turnbull, who've scored screamers in recent weeks. Harris with the corner doesn't find a green shirt. And now Spalding have got the opportunity to get a little bit of a break on. We need to We need to nip this in the bud. We don't want to be conceding any goals today, and we do exactly that. Fully nipped in the bud. Turnbull now. Big ball over the top for Anthony Harris to chase. He uses his pace and power, as always, but unlike his usual form, doesn't stick it into the back of the net. I would have bet my house on him scoring there. To be fair, I do rent, so it's not that much of a risky bet, but still. Powell is now in. Can he tuck it away? Mick Powell doesn't, and James Hayter showing exactly what we were talking about his physicals, because even a 35-year-old James Hayter gets on the end of that rebound and just tucks it away. 40-year-old James Hayter sees the ball's nearly a yard away from him and just can't bring himself to lunge for it and just lets it now Anthony Harris has pulled his groin. Right, we're taking him straight off. He's just recovered from a pulled hamstring. On the assumption that the playoffs are looming, we want Anthony Harris off the pitch. We do not want to make that worse. It's so important that he's fit for the playoffs. If we've got any chance of getting promoted through these playoffs, then we have to have Anthony Harris in the team. That is a strange corner. Morris and Turnbull are up to something here, and if it leads to a goal, they're geniuses. It doesn't. They're not geniuses. They both think they're cleverer than they are. Turnbull's playing in League One next year, and Morris knows he's the best player at the club, so they were trying to be fancy. Seth Patrick now tries to tuck it back across to Powell, but it can't quite get there. And again, Spalding have got a little bit of a break on, and we need to be alert to what's going on here. I'm already thinking I perhaps should have brought Sagaf on for Harris and gone to the normal diamond system, and now we've been punished. Oh dear. And my phone's making noises as well, so I owe you all I don't owe you, I'm not giving you all £1, but I do officially owe you all £1. Just put it on my tab. I need to put my phone on Do Not Disturb because I'm a monster. There we go. We've airplane moded that bad boy. No more nonsense coming out. I'll forget to turn that back on for days now. 1-1. Down to 5th. We are still there as things stand. We're going to finish in the playoffs. There's only one game left after this one, but I'm worried about that Harris. It really has worried me quite a lot. If he's injured, we may as well not qualify for the playoffs because we're not going to do anything with him. Oh, it falls to Seth Patrick and it goes straight at the Spalding keeper again, and we get another corner. Morris to take. Is he going to try it fancy again? He is going to. They're trying the exact same corner routine again, and once again it didn't work. Those two need to pack that nonsense in. When Anthony Harris takes a corner, he just crosses it into the box. Those two are trying to be clever against the worst team in the league, and it isn't working. Have a word with yourselves, realise you're actually not that clever, and stop that nonsense. What can we say? We've been the best. No, don't keep doing what you're doing. No, keep working out. I am far from pleased. We're against the worst team in the division. We should be 5-0 up by now. Let's get out there and rip them apart in this second half. It is not the momentum we need going into the playoffs. Being rubbish against this team. Let's get creative. I am gonna make a change in a minute and go to the diamond, because perhaps we don't need to do the 3 up front when we haven't got our 3 super strikers on there. Seth Patrick, although he exploded into the team right at the start of the season, when he got those early goals, he's not actually that good, and I don't think we need to mutilate the tactic the way we have to get Seth Patrick into the front line. I'm not going to take Patrick off. I'll take Hayter off probably to rest him. And we have got Sagaf on the bench, so that's an easy change to make. We're going to bring Sagaf onto Hayter, drop him back there, and just go to the more normal looking diamond system. You idiots need to show some passion because it's still only 1-1. Are you afraid of the playoffs or something? Are we getting playoff nosebleeds? This is not okay. Can we have a goal, please? It would appear they're looking for overlaps. Well, that shouldn't threaten us, really, if Spalding are looking for overlaps, because they're not supposed to be any good. Right, Morris can come off for Phillips. At least it stops that stupid corner for the last 10 minutes. We can have a normal corner now. Phillips has graduated from young midfielder to hard-working midfielder. That's nice. I like a hard-working midfielder. Are we going to grab a winner in this game? Because this is ridiculous if we don't. I know I said we only needed a point from these 2 games, but I'm pretty sure I also said we should comfortably beat Spalding. Davis now to Turnbull. Turnbull over the top for Seth Patrick to chase, and he is fouled, and that's going to be a red card. It's so late in the game, it's unlikely to make much of a difference. And we don't have Dean Morris on the pitch anymore, who we know can score these. I don't know who's going to take it in his absence. Whoever it was so poor, it didn't even warrant a highlight. Marvellous. It's going to be a 1-1 against 10 men, isn't it? Oh dear. Ellison can't get onto the ball. Turnbull's trying to be too clever. And that was appalling. It does give me the opportunity to shout at them. We weren't good enough today. They're fired up. Hopefully we now go and tear Stamford a new one and take that passion into the playoffs, which theoretically I think we have just qualified for. We should get the notification pop up in our inbox now that we've qualified for the playoffs. Yes, Holme and Sheffield both secured playoff places. What does that show up on the schedule yet? It doesn't. I want to see how these playoffs work. I've been warned about them by lots of people. I don't actually know how I haven't checked how they work in game. I assume they work the same stupid way they do in real life. Is there any? There's no detail of the playoffs here, is there? Teams 2nd to 5th qualify for the promotion playoff. Yeah, but how does the promotion playoff work? Top two, no, it doesn't say. Stages. Here we go. This might. Because it's our first season, we can't even see what normally happens. It's going to be a learning experience. We'll figure the playoffs out as we go. Let's make sure if we do win them, we don't get too excited, because that doesn't necessarily mean we're going to get promoted. Let's go and play Stamford. Okay, I know this is dependent on the ability of my assistant manager, which, to be fair, isn't great, but Brett Holland does think that Dean Morris has graduated from being a potential League One standard player to a potential Championship talent. I mean, he is improving constantly. He's still only 16 years old as well, which is a bit mad, really. But we now have a mission to get promoted fast enough to be able to give him a proper contract so that when he does move, we can actually get some money for him. Because the ridiculous thing is, when he I don't know if we can even offer him a contract now. No. So, when his youth contract expires at the end of next season, we need to be 2 divisions higher, so he'll accept a contract from us so that we don't lose him for nothing. I'm going to be so sad if he goes and signs for a Championship club for free. As ever, I'm bringing players in on trial, and as usual, they're players we can't possibly sign. For example, this guy, £250 per appearance. Obviously can't bring him in because that's more than half of our wage budget. I have got a bit of an evil plan though, because it seems there's no transfer window at this level, so we can bring players in whenever and they can leave whenever. So the likes of someone like this, Matt Richards, who has loads of experience in the Championship, League 1, League 2, he's much better than everyone else we've got in midfield. He wants far too much money, but he is willing to agree terms on a £250 appearance fee. We could just bring him in to play in the playoffs and then let him go. And just say, you know what, we're going to spend 750 quid on having this guy in our team for the playoffs. And I'm so tempted to. But then the temptation to keep him around afterwards will be there. Oh, am I that much of a monster? Well, thankfully, Anthony Harris didn't actually pick up an injury in that last game. It was just a knock that forced him off the pitch. Like most of the squad, he's now not match fit because we haven't played for 2 weeks. And apparently that ruins our match fitness, or ruins the match fitness of Anthony Harris, which is a weird one, and Ryan Ellison. I don't know why he's less fit than everybody else. I guess he did pick up a little bit of an injury. It just didn't show up as an injury at any point. Let's have a look. Okay, no, pulled groin, out for 5 days. Perhaps it did. But he's back in anyway. I didn't even notice that come up. But Anthony Harris is fit to play. We are going back to the diamond, though, partly to give James Hayter a rest, and partly because I think it's probably a more sensible system to use in the playoffs because it's that little bit more solid defensively. We're going with Sheridan as the attacking midfielder as part of it today. If he's a complete failure, then we bring James Hayter on and we go back to 3 up top. But I'm going to be judging a lot on how we play today against Stamford, because Stamford, although they've dropped out of the playoffs late on in the season, they were top of the league for a little while. They have been a competitive team throughout the season. I think they're roughly equivalent quality to the rest of the playoff teams. Yeah, they've just been in terrible form recently, which is This could be the last time we see Jack Turnbull. Yeah, it is the last time we see Jack Turnbull in a home shirt. Well, it's not actually, because we've got the playoffs that everyone seems to keep forgetting about. Why is there so many touchline interviews? We're at Stamford as well, so there's been a journalist interested in home follow us 20 miles away to Stamford to ask me loads of questions. They've got a lot of fans. There's loads of people here. Which end are we at? We've just scored a delicious own goal. So that's not us. So Stamford wear red. See, I'm red-green colourblind. I'm going to struggle to pick out the home fans here. That's us at that end, isn't it? We've actually brought quite a lot of people, but then to me that looks like green as well. But that must be red in there. That must be the Stamford lot. But it looks like we've brought a lot of people with us. Did we just score after 20 seconds, by the way? I noticed the goal. I did mention we'd grabbed an own goal. But I didn't realise it was 20 seconds into the match. There's the home fans. It looks quite full in there. I'm quite proud of how many we've brought. That's wonderful. It looks like we should actually have a chunk of people coming with us when we presumably go out on the road for the playoffs. If they work the same way as the National League North and South playoffs, and I know they don't, but in the early stages they might. I don't know if it's going to be a one-leg or a two-leg thing. If it's a one-leg first round, we're going to be away. We just scored a ridiculous goal. We'll get back to this in a minute. I just need to work out what happened here because I was looking at the league table because there was absolutely no threat there. And then all of a sudden, the screen's flashing. So Davis just kicks it from here. I'm pretty sure this bounced before it went in. Oh, my word. I love non-league. It's amazing. 5 minutes on the clock. We're 2-0 up. Excellent stuff. Davis is very pleased with himself. But I think we'll be away against Morpeth Town. We're 3-0 up now. Mick Powell grabbing a goal in a one-leg affair. If that's what it's like, if it's how it is, if it's the same way it is in the divisions above. And hopefully we can take this away form into that game because we're now 3-0 up after 7 minutes. And this is what I wanted. This is momentum going into the playoffs. This is much more like it. I think we're sticking with the diamond for the playoffs. I've made the decision. This is our system again. And we've got James Hayter who can come on with 20 minutes to go and be a game changer, be a difference maker. Him and Seth Patrick on the bench. That's quite a threatening bench to have. I approve of it. But we could just end the game now. We're 3-0 up. 3-0 up 7 minutes in. We may as well stop trying. Should we take our better players off and just... we could take Morris off. We've got Phillips on the bench. We could take off Anthony Harris as well. Bring on Seth Patrick. Get some more game time into him. But Harris is still pushing for his 40 goals this season. And he's trying to grab some assists to go with it as well. Crosses it over to Mick Powell, who nods it just wide. The Stamford players are fired up by the feedback they've got. I can't imagine what feedback can possibly fire them up when they've not won in goodness knows how long and they're 3-0 down at home to a team that at the start of the season they would have assumed they were much better than. That's a lovely tackle. Ball over the top to Powell. Falls to Anthony Harris, who sticks it in from right on the edge of the area. His 38th goal of the season. And that's 4-0 up before half-time. What a way to end the regular season. If we'd have played like this all year long, we'd have won the title. And it's the big frustration at this level because obviously we can't have played like this all year long because of the amount of times we had to keep rebuilding the team. The midfield that started today, the two central midfielders, neither of them were with us until October time. I think we finally started to bring in some midfield players. So they weren't here at the start of the season. The back four and goalkeeper have been completely replaced from the first game of the season. So none of them lot were here then. So we're constantly having to rebuild the team. I know Mick Powell was here, but we didn't know he existed. So really, survivors from the first day of the season to today, we've got Anthony Harris, Dean Morris. Sheridan was around, but was sat on the bench and coming off the bench to play on the left wing as an inside forward occasionally. So, and he's not even a regular starter for us now. So really, the only regulars who've survived from the first day of the season to the last are Morris and Harris. What other level of football would you have that kind of nonsense in? It's brilliant. Right, let's passionate. I've got to be passionately happy. I can't even pretend to criticise him after a first half like that. That was exceptional, especially because we've not had a single clear-cut chance. Although I'm starting to decide the clear-cut chances thing doesn't even really work on FM19. They're so few. I don't remember the last time that I had a game where there was more clear-cut chances and goals scored. Whereas on FM18, you used to get 2 or 3 clear-cut chances per team per game at least. Whereas now we've managed to score 4 goals in the first half and not have a clear-cut chance. And that doesn't make sense to me. One of them must have been a clear-cut chance. Although thinking back on them, I don't know that any of them were. So perhaps it's not the game broken. Perhaps we've just had a lot of luck go our way. So obviously that second goal where the goalkeeper just palmed it in, a lot of luck there. They've had a lot of luck there. That's obviously not a clear-cut chance. All of a sudden it's 4-2 and we need to actually pay attention to what's going on here a little bit. We don't want to be conceding lots of goals. This has been a mad, mad game. Typical end of season madness. And Brannigan's got to do better there. Oh dear. Right, we need a shout. We need to shout at them to show some passion, because I think they've all calmed down a little bit, and I'm not going to be having them calm down. Sheridan's frustrated by the feedback. Everyone else has completely ignored it. I can't win. I'm going to bring James Hayter on in a minute to calm us down. We're going to go 3 up top when we're 2 goals ahead, because that's good tactics as far as I'm concerned. It's more about getting that man on the pitch just to calm everything down a little bit. Turnbull's not having the best of games, but we don't have a midfield. I guess we could bring Shane Phillips on in midfield. He doesn't really want to be an attacking central midfield. Although, to be honest, he doesn't want to be anything. Let's get him doing that. We'll have 2 ball-winning midfielders in. What's the worst that can happen? There's a throwback to the first game of the season, because obviously Shane Phillips was starting then, sat in front of the back 4 with Morris, and then when we went to just a 1 holding midfielder, poor old Phillips was sacrificed. But here's Hayter, plays the ball over the top to Anthony Harris. Can he grab goal number 39? He actually crosses it towards Powell. Phillips picks it up, finds Hayter, and James Hayter grabs his 7th goal of the season, but more importantly, his 2nd goal of the episode, as he proves once again that he is not finished. James Hayter is playing for a new contract for next season, although that's not even how it works at this level. He's on a non-contract. Even if we decide not to play him next year, unless he actually asks to leave, he'll just sit in our reserve team until he's like 50, and then he might retire. That's the mad thing. He's showing no signs of being ready to retire, even though he's 40. I don't think he ever will retire. Right, what should we do as our final change? Who is tired? Who have we got to bring on? Actually, we've got Ryan John, who's a youngster. We'll bring him on. He's one of this year's youth intakes, so we'll bring him on to play at left back, give him a little bit of exposure. He's going to be our starting left back next season, unless something goes very, very wrong with him. So we'll get him into the team, and we're going to concede a 3rd here, aren't we? Oh my word, Brannigan. It hits him on the backside and ends up going wide. Stamford have now had 1 clear-cut chance to our 0. We're mugging them 5-2. It's the mugging of the century, and I'm very happy with it. But the important thing is form and momentum going into those playoffs. How many times have I said playoff this episode? It's very refreshing to be allowed to say it, because normally it's a banned word on any series that I do. Until we've qualified for them, we're not allowed to say it. We've been very poor at the back today. If we play like this in the playoffs, we're going to get knocked out. We need to tighten up at the back again. This is poor. Just he gets in behind, cross comes over. That's a clear-cut chance if ever I saw one. So they should now be 2-0 up for clear-cut chances. Let's skip the rest of that. And I want to see the clear-cut chances again. I want to test my theory. No, that wasn't even a half chance, apparently. Clear-cut chances is more broken than it's ever been. Harris is in. Harris gets number 39. What a goal from Anthony Harris. It's Stamford 3, Holme 6. What an insane match this has been. And again, not close to a clear-cut chance, because he has absolutely no right to score from there. But he does, because he's Anthony Harris, and that's what he does. 39 goals this season for him now. Remember when we were all sad that Levi Potton left before he played a game for us and we didn't know where our goals were going to come from? I'm so glad Levi Potton left, because if he hadn't, I'd already decided, it's 6-4. I'd already decided I was playing 1 up front at the start of the season. Harris wouldn't have even started that first game. Would he have ever broken into the team if Potton had stayed? Would Potton have got as many goals as Harris has got? I'm very happy things have worked out the way they have. Although I don't remember conceding 4 goals before. So defensively, this game has been rubbish. We need it to end now. I don't want a 6-6. They're going to grab another one, aren't they? Davis, heads clear. It's with Harris. Can he score from there? He's scored from everywhere else over the course of the season, and he just runs into their player. He's probably very tired. He's 16 years old, and it's the middle of May. He probably had a GCSE exam yesterday, and now we're making him play football for 90 minutes. That's mad. He's played all those games, scored all those goals whilst sitting his GCSEs. Anthony Harris, what a hero. That was a real Jekyll and Hyde performance from you. Fantastic in the first half. Yeah, I think I will do that, actually, because we were rubbish in the second half, even though we scored 2 more goals. We can't go into the playoffs again. We can't go into the playoffs thinking that it's okay to play the way we did in that second half. Right, we are going to hang around to see who we're playing and get an idea if this is a 1 leg or a 2 leg, because then we'll know what we're doing for the rest of the week with these episodes. I don't know how it's going to work. The playoffs are a mystery, and the game doesn't seem to want to show me them. Oh, imagine if the playoffs are broken and we can't even continue the save. If the save ends here, I'm very sorry, but we're just sitting. Oh, thank goodness. So we beat Stamford. Have we got any news about the playoffs yet? No. I will let you know when we have news about the playoffs. Well, it's now Monday. Still no sign of the playoffs. I'm not worried yet. I'm not worried. It'll be fine. Please give me some playoffs. I mean, it's nearly June. We've got players who are... I mean, playoffs? Anybody? We definitely qualified for them. We definitely did. Playoffs, anybody? Are we waiting for other leagues to finish? I don't know what we're waiting for. This is... I'm not worried. It's Tuesday now. I'm not worried. Oh God. Oh God. I have had people testing this database. I know it works. Oh, thank goodness. The draw for the regional First Division's promotion playoff quarter-final is made today. So yeah, this is what I mean about the playoffs. There's 16 teams in it. And we're in the quarter-final now. So it's not even how I thought it was. This is going to be interesting. So there's teams from all over the country. And we've got to make it through a number of rounds. Is this over a number of legs? So there's a quarter-final, semi-final and final. So there's only one team out of all of this come through. So we've missed Peterborough Sports. Would have been fun. They're not in our division, but Peterborough Sports are just down the road. That would have been a fun one. Don't know who Whiteleaf are. I don't know who Kidsgrove are. I don't know who most of these are. And Greenwich Borough, Thatcham. Is it still teams close to us who are left in it? I wonder if this is still going to be regionalised. Right, so home are at home. And we're going to be playing Maiden and Malden and Tiptree from the Bostik North Division 1. Okay. How did they get on in that division? They finished 5th. They finished 5th in this league. That has Peterborough Sports in it, apparently. Or, I don't know. No, it doesn't. That's the playoffs. Okay, so that's who we're playing. We'll finish the draw. And then I guess we find out whether it's one leg or two legs. Let's look at the fixtures. It's just one leg at a neutral ground. So we're playing at the Abbey Stadium in Cambridge. So we're on the way to Cambridge for a neutral stadium, one leg playoff quarter-final, which is over a week away. It's early June. I mean, they're not giving us much time to prepare, are they? Importantly, 442 say we're favourites. So I guess tomorrow's episode is going to be the playoffs. I don't know how much. I don't know how it works. This is going to be a fun adventure. If you have enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.